Whoa, it's the CU Podcast.
We are here for the 150th time, at least.
150th, at least.
I probably miscounted somewhere.
Yeah.
This could be only 149 or 151, but it's the CU Podcast, completely unnecessary podcast, going strong for 5.5 years.
We out here.
More than 5.5 years already.
Yep.
Alongside irritable Ian Ferguson.
Howdy.
I'm paltry Pat Contry.
Pat Country.
Not poultry. And we have a lot
Poultry?
I just said not poultry.
Oh, poultry. I said poultry.
Yes.
Still funny.
My little chicken legs. Well, we talk about lots of great stuff. Something we never spoke about in the podcast before, about the DC EU movies.
We've never mentioned them.
That wasn't our first topic ever on the podcast or anything. Resident Evil games being more expensive on Switch. The Paprium fiasco, which sounds like a lack of a spice out there. Collectibles being sold by people. Wow, that's new. A scumbag seller of the week. Tales from the game store. And a Q&A topic or two. Ian, what do you think about when you think about 150 episodes? Or podcasts, I should say.
Boy, we've been doing this for a long time.
Boy, we've been doing it.
Yeah.
Well, not in our defense. So for the first 2 months of this year, we've been doing these weekly. So we're going there faster. We would have been here like a year and a half ago. We would have been here a long time ago, or 2 years ago.
Yeah, so definitely going weekly has sped it up. But I feel like the content is more or less still the same, which is great.
As bad as it's ever been.
Yep.
As mediocre as it's ever been.
And it's been fun. It's been wild and wacky.
It's been wild wacky.
I look at us having 150 episodes, and I'm like, that's a ton. And then I look at the podcasts that are in like the 200s and 300s, and it's like,
but they cheat and do them weekly, and we started before most of them.
I don't think that's cheating necessarily.
Well, I'm just gonna say this isn't a humble brag, but we used to be scoring the top 10 of gaming podcasts when we came out.
Sure.
Like episodes used to get in the top 5. Again, this is 2013, 14, where there wasn't a huge amount, and most of them were like from IGN, a lot of these podcasts. And if we had been doing them weekly, we would have doubled our numbers, and we would have been up there. Sure. You know, we would have been the ones with like doing the traveling conventions instead of Kind of Funny. we would have our shows where you come out. We should do that. We should go on Ticketmaster and some. But no, it's been fun. It's been good. Ian's a good chap most of the time.
Yeah, Pat's okay.
I'm just okay.
Most of the time.
That's the most compliment he's given me the past 5 years. He's okay most of the time. You know, we still butt heads from time to time, but whatever. Probably not as awfully as we used to, I think.
No, certainly not.
We both simmered down a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm a lot less crazy.
I'm a lot less crazy. A lot less crazy.
Ian doesn't have the hangry energy, I would say. He acts hangry when he's not hangry sometimes, I'll just say. We have an NES marathon, charity marathon.
We sure do.
Supporting Rady Children's Hospital. Go to nesmarathon.com. You can donate to see us play a game. We're going to have a spinny wheel with a dry eraser, and we're going to come up tomorrow. We're going to finalize it. I think one of them's going to be like Pat Sings. Maybe a different system game can be played. If you spin the wheel, every $500, you spin the wheel, make a deal. And that's what's going to happen. Physical challenge.
I'll just shoot straight hot sauce.
I don't think we're supposed to. I don't think you're allowed to drink liquor. Are you allowed to drink liquor?
Hot sauce.
Can you drink liquor, though?
Yeah.
You can?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know what the stream's TOS is, but we're doing that for a great cause. I think we're over 1,000 already. We have a couple sponsors. PRGD's back in there. We're going to have a few more. Luna Video Games, 2 locations. Chula Vista and El Cajon will probably sponsor again. And more. And we're going to have Andre Meadows and Gerard Khalil and Alex Fasciani about there, and Vonnie and Ian and me, and maybe a guest. We'll see. No Spike the Hole. Ruin my place.
It's a shame.
It's a shame. Then you can go to ultimatesnes.com for a certain Super Nintendo guidebook. There's 10 days left. Then you can never get it after that, ever. Wink, wink.
Yeah, get it now.
Then sad news about Keith Flint of the Prodigy fame, passing away at 49.
Yep, that's.
If you want to talk about it real quick, but very influential, obviously, for electronic music. The biggest act of the 90s probably for electronic music, and really helped make it more mainstream.
He was huge. I mean,
he wasn't there in the first album. Right?
He was. He's a dancer.
He was just a dancer?
The Prodigy. So the Prodigy was together.
It was 2 guys originally.
So Liam Howlett is the only guy who really does the music, and then there was Maxim and Keith Flint. And if you look on the back of the first album, you'll see Keith Flint, and he's there.
Oh, he is.
Long blonde
I thought
hair.
he didn't actually produce any music though until like the second or third.
He doesn't, but he didn't. But they were still
They were still
part of a
around
band.
him.
They're
Okay.
still a band. That was considered the group.
Okay.
And same with music for the Jilted Generation. And then
Is that the second?
that's the second one.
Okay.
And then when Fed of the Land came out, he
became the front man.
It's funny
Yeah.
too, because you look at the pictures of him on the first two albums, and then you look at him on Fed of the Land, and it's obviously very different. But by adding a front man to the Prodigy, they kind of broke that weird. People had hang-ups in the 90s about electronic music, especially music without like vocals. So
It's not real music. I heard this from assholes in college.
Yeah.
It's not real music. I was like, what is that? What are you like a fucking old man in the 50s thinking
Yeah.
rock and roll's not music? It's music, electronic music. What the fuck are you talking about?
So Keith Flint, went from being, a dancer and an auxiliary member of the group to arguably transforming them and giving them their pop success by creating a front man and an icon, someone to visually associate with the band. And
if you don't know out there, if you don't know what we're talking about, Fat Land was what, the third album? It was
Third
one
album.
that blew them out.
with Firestarter.
Firestarter, Smack My
Breathe.
Bitch Up, and Breathe. Like,
Yep.
and they had the frontman, I forget the other guy's name, but they were all over their MTV.
Maxim.
They were performing, and this was something that you did not see before. Electronic group like performing in the mainstream. It just was not a thing before that. Then after that, it opened the door to people listening to other electronic music, like Fatboy Slim got popular, and so they really did like bust down the door for that. And I was huge into electronic music in the late '90s. Obviously, Ian was as well. So it really was nice to see something like that happen. Yeah, it's 49 is way too young, obviously.
Yep.
It's a shame.
So, yeah, that's a bummer. My friend and I were talking that we're getting to this age now where we can see these people who grew up and went through that scene, and yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. None of these people were kind to their bodies for the most part. So,
Sure.
So that's not how Keith Flint passed away. He unfortunately took his own life. But the mileage, I guess, that you put on your body and your mind,
Oh, sure. If you're doing a lot of drugs and alcohol, even if your health is fine, yeah, your mind's still a little messed up. You have depression mixed in with there as well. So yeah, it's.
I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's
doesn't
something
help.
to watch.
It doesn't
Right,
help.
Right.
Substance abuse never helps. So yeah, it's just sort of sad. I'm glad to see though that people online came out and say like, oh, this is very important. It wasn't just like tossed aside.
Right.
And I think they just had an album, I believe.
They
fairly
did.
recently.
They did. They were about to tour in the U.S. as well.
Well, that's a shame then.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I guess you can still
that
tour
was-
without him, but
That was
unless
a
he's singing, you
huge
can't.
part of my youth.
Yeah. All right.